Larry Kudlow here for Colonial Metals Group. Ask yourself, is your retirement protected? Gold is the one asset that's surged through every war and economic shock. Please call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908. Or just visit freegoldguide.com/Kudlow to claim your free 2025 Gold Guide. You'll learn how to protect your IRA or 401k and could qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver. That's freegoldguide.com/Kudlow.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back into the Stone Zone. Reported to you yesterday that SiriusXM has terminated the $100 million a year contract for Howard Stern. Joining us now is radio legend Eric Mancow Muller, better known as the Mancow, who went head-to-head with Howard Stern in the Chicago radio market and vanquished Stern. He is a longtime critic of Stern. In my own case, not only did I never understand Stern's humor, but I hated the way that he loved to utilize Donald Trump to boost his ratings before Trump was in politics, but then turned on Trump like a rabid dog once Trump decided to make America great again. Joining me now is the Mancow. He stormed into the Chicago radio scene originally with Mancow's Morning Madhouse, emerging as a giant in the radio industry, known for his daring stunts, his sharp wit, his vivid characters, and his boundless charm. But his abilities extend far beyond radio. He's a best-selling author, appeared on several hit TV and reality shows. I am proud to bring on my friend Mancow. He is a gourmand, a boulevardier, a bon vivant, a man about town, a raconteur, and a man from whom I have learned virtually everything I know about radio. Mancow, welcome to the Stone Zone.
Roger, thank you. Love you, brother. I don't know where to begin. Let me thank you for the intro. The Die Hard movie with Bruce Willis is what I hear about a lot now. If people want to see who I am, but and Bruce is not going to be doing many more. Look, my battle with Stern is epic. I have all the files from radio. I can reveal a lot of stuff to you. But what I want to say, the main point I want to get out is Oprah was allowed to do all kinds of assertive things and excretory things, and so was Stern, that I wasn't allowed to do because I was conservative. I'm a freedom lover. I'm a libertarian. I'm a live and let live kind of guy. And I've been saying it for 30 years, and people thought I was crazy, of course. But these people were propped up. And we see now without U.S. aid and other government help, they don't exist. They're going away. People like Colbert. Kimmel was my sportscaster. And you tell people this 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and they think you're crazy. They think, just like everybody would argue with me, that you were a Russian spy. And so you feel like a crazy man because you know the truth. Howard Stern was set upon the American radio scape. Believe me, we have to deal with the FCC, a government agency. And I got fines and hassles every single day. Mancow, you said the F word. No, I didn't. But I still had to hire a lawyer and fight it against the government, while Stern got a free pass. In every audience survey and in every market where I competed against him, I didn't just hold my own. I kicked his ass, and I destroyed him. And people given a choice always wanted me. Look, he was there for one reason. Yes, he gave you cake and circus and all the BS. He was allowed to talk about boobies and get the young men. But it was really about neutering men and making them into good little subservient communists. And I'm not kidding you. He was a mouthpiece, a propagandist, and a sellout. So just like the freak shows would have a great banner and you would go into the freak show and it would always be a letdown, the same thing. You get your boobies. Oh, he's so naughty. And then you get in and it's a good neutering of men. And I always hated the guy, and I will relieve myself on his grave. And that is not something I'm just saying. I'm going to do it. I'm going to post it online. He is the devil, and good riddance.
Mancow, you have to stop mincing words. You have to stop holding back. You need to tell my audience what you really think.
Thank you.
Look, I recall that that Howard Stern often used the N word.
Yeah.
He did a number of routines in blackface. None of that is acceptable then or today, but somehow he got away with it in a way that no one else could do. Why do you think that is?
I said it. And again, oh, it's spoil sport, Mancow. And look, I was offered to replace him in New York. And David Lee Roth got in there, and that's a very long story. But look, it's fake. It's fake. Why is Anderson Cooper? I mean, my numbers dwarf Anderson Cooper and all these guys. So they're promoted because their agenda. It's government licensed. The same thing when I had better numbers than The Daily Show, and I went and talked to Comedy Central. Well, you have to be liberal, right? Well, no, I'm a freedom guy. I'm a populist guy. Can't do it. So look, look at the dumbing down of society, Roger. Listen to the music. Look at the TV shows. Look at the movies. This is all by design. I was at Comic-Con for a week with a guy that played Flash Gordon, Sam Jones. And I don't know if you remember that old movie, Flash Gordon, 1982, Queen soundtrack. But you should see what passes for men now. They're all soft around the middle. They don't have an opinion. They're wearing flip-flops and shorts, and they're nothing, and their children are even worse. The schools have dumbed us down. There's chemicals in the water, and they've given us entertainment that is to neuter you. And that's why. Because the government backing. How am I going to fight the government? I was asked to run. You know about this. You were going to be part of my campaign. I was asked to run against J.B. Pritzker here in Illinois. He's our governor, complete communist. But he's a billionaire. What do you do? It's all scripted. It's all fake. And the people are really getting the short end of the stick.
I have to agree with everything you say. Let me ask you a few subjective questions. You are probably the number one rock and roll fan in the country.
Yeah.
An aficionado of great rock. What is the greatest rock band of all time?
Wow, thank you. I introduced John Lodge of the Moody Blues the last two nights in Chicago. I was instrumental in getting the Moody Blues in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have 7 albums, starting with Days of Future Past, I think are masterpieces. The Beatles are great, of course, The Who, The Stones, etc. But when you talk about perfect albums, and every one of their albums had clunkers, but perfect albums without clunkers, you're talking about 7 Moody Blues albums. Question of Balance, probably the masterpiece. I love the Kinks. And they played my wedding. There's a lot of great rock bands, but I would have to say the Moody Blues, which nobody would agree with, but that's my stance. And then the Kinks.
Well, I can definitely testify for your love at the Kinks because the last time I was a guest at your home in Chicago, outside of Chicago, you played the album 12 times in a row. It was like
That's right.
background music. It was really great. I'm also a fan of the Kinks. In your opinion, is a tough one. The greatest rock guitarist of all time.
Well, I love Rick Nielsen from they're my friends from Cheap Trick. I love David Gilmour with Pink Floyd. I'm not a big guitar guy. I like more subtle stuff. So I would say Gilmour with Pink Floyd. And Billy Corgan, my neighbor here, Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins, is a great underrated guitar. The Edge is great, but it's all done through effects. The Edge with U2. And the greatest entertainer of all time, I would either say, if I may, I would either say Al Jolson or Wagner. So two controversial people to say, but just you're talking about great artists that have lived, those two.
Yeah, there's no question. Al Jolson, who has his first Broadway hit in 1912 and is the male vocalist of the year 1950, the year before he dies. A guy who dominated Broadway, then makes the first talking picture, then a radio star,
Yeah.
goes into an eclipse, but it makes a tremendous comeback when Metro Goldwyn Mayers makes the Jolson Story, which remains my favorite movie of all time,
Yeah.
with Jolson Sings Again, the sequel being my second favorite movie of all time. Of course, politically incorrect to
Yeah.
recognize the enormous talent of Al Jolson. People
Yeah.
ask me the guitar question. I take it a little broader. So to me, the greatest guitarist of all time would either be one of the Kings. It would either be B.B. King, Albert King, or Freddie King. but that, of course, is a little bit more in the blues genre. Let's get back to politics, if we may.
Yeah.
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has now released the classified Russiagate files, proving beyond any doubt that Barack Obama, CIA Director John Brennan, James Clapper, and the whole gang were responsible for framing Trump as a Russian agent with completely fraudulent, fabricated intelligence. Gee whiz, we just found out that through an email that was declassified that Hillary Clinton approved the entire gambit from the beginning. What do you expect to happen to these criminals now that they've been exposed? And do you have any confidence that they will actually pay any penalty?
Roger, casting aside the Mancow mask of play and speaking to you as my friend, people don't know the hell you went through. You lost everything over this Russian hoax, and I got in fistfights over you. The hell you've been through. And the fact that you can sit here on the radio and talk about it so detached is shocking. Look, we knew it was all BS, and we fought it. I fought it on air and off air. And I'm sorry that our country put you through this hell. But we will be victorious. And in the end, you know that God wins and good wins. I hope that the creep that's running for mayor of New York doesn't win, and my prayers go there. Look, I'll tell you some crazy stuff. I have to say it's my opinion, but I believe they have video of Barack Obama and the butler, the chef, being drowned. I believe they have surveillance photo and video. I believe that Breitbart was killed, and they found out that information. I was going to do a show on Fox, signed, sealed, and delivered days after he was murdered. Andrew Breitbart, you may or may not remember, but we were going to do a show called Future News. And look, these people are bloodthirsty. I believe part of the Frazzle Drip story involving Hillary, these are demonic people. The sex things with children it's not sexual. It's demonic. It's chemical. These are evil, evil people. I knew Barack Obama before he was Barack Obama when he was Barry in Illinois, and he was a cokehead homosexual. That was the word, and that's the vibe I got. Certainly a Muslim. And we really have been just fed a lot of lies, and we've been led by a lot of evil. And you got sucked up into all that. And I'm sorry that you went through that and your lovely wife. It breaks my heart. But I hope you feel vindicated. But who cares now that you've lost everything and they put you through hell for years?
Well, as you know, it is only through the grace of God and my faith, the restoration of my faith, that I was redeemed in the blood of the cross. And therefore, I have no regrets. There's nothing I would have done differently. When they indicted me on fabricated crimes in order to try to pressure me into testifying falsely against Donald Trump,
Yeah.
I refused. And I have no regret. I would do it again tomorrow. I don't know how people like Michael Cohen live with themselves. I really, really don't. So if you were President Trump's top advisor, and I know he's a good friend of yours, but if you were his top advisor in the White House, what would be your top priority? What would you put at the
Oh,
top of his list of things to do to make America great again?
great. What a great question. I don't know the right tongue right now, but there was a thing that Obama repealed about fake news and propaganda and news having to be somewhat equal. They need to restore that act that Obama destroyed, and we need to restore the act that foreign agents cannot run for public offices. Islam is a cancer that's coming for us. I was in England recently. I'm going to be there in December with the Moody Blues, Justin Hayward, and it's like being in Calcutta, man. It's unbelievable what we've given up. The culture that and that's what I'm saying with Stern too. The coarsening, the stupidity, the neutering of the men. Look at how men are portrayed. And yeah, so I would say no foreigners can hold office. You got to be born in America, and also make it so the media cannot lie. It's amazing how they're reporting all this Tulsi Gabbard stuff like it's some questionable thing. It's not. They've got the smoking gun. Obama and Hillary and the rest are treasonous. And we used to hang traitors. I remember the story of Julius and Ethel. You're not old enough to remember them, are you?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that case. Of course,
Well,
Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were convicted of being Russian spies and
yeah,
actually stealing the country's atomic secrets.
right. So why are we putting up with this? You know, I know Barry's so likable, Barry Obama and Hillary is such a delight, but they should get the treatment that the Rosenbergs got. We need to bring that back. And yes, McCarthy was a drunk, but he was right. We really were filled with, Hollywood really was filled with communists. Our government really was filled with communists. They really did want to destroy our culture. They really did pack the schools with creeps. And wow, we were right. But little solace now after all we've been through.
Well, it remains to be seen. I think you can make a very good case that there was and is a seditious conspiracy to commit treason, and that manifested itself as most recently as the raid on Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. Until you've had your home raided, as I had at 6 o'clock in the morning by 29 heavily armed FBI agents in full SWAT gear, brandishing M4 fully automatic assault weapons just to arrest little old me for the first time, nonviolent alleged crime of lying to Congress. When we've now established that there was nothing to lie about, I had no motive to lie since there was no Russian collusion to cover up. You
Right.
can't even imagine the sense of violation that stays with you for the rest of your life. My wife still has PTSD from that experience. If something goes bump in the night, she thinks the whole thing is happening again. It is only through prayer that we are fully restored. We're talking to the Mancow, radio legend, right here on the Roger Stone Show, right here in the Stone Zone. We'll be right back.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. We're in the Stone Zone. We're talking to radio legend Mancow. He is the man who drove Howard Stern out of both Chicago and virtually every major AM radio market in the country. We're kind of celebrating the end of Howard Stern's career. I never even found him faintly amusing. I guess I just didn't get it, or maybe it was his politics that I didn't get. One thing I want to clarify in the little time we have left here, you had a hit show on Fox. You knew legendary Fox pioneer Roger Ailes, a man who has been vilified after he's gone on to his maker and can no longer defend himself. The smears and falsehoods that have been spread about him disgust me. He was a great man. He was a decent man. He was a friend of mine. Tell us about your experience with Roger Ailes and the Roger Ailes you knew.
Well, he was a man, and he was a man of great honor, and he stuck by me through thick and thin, and that's what everybody will tell you, except for, I forget the woman, Gretchen or whatever, that I believe just wanted money, my opinion. But no, Roger was incredible. Roger, I'm going to tell you something, Roger, that's going to shock you. I don't know if you know he was my agent.
Did you know that?
Roger Ailes was my agent. And the head of Stern's boss called me and said, Roger Ailes is calling me. Roger Ailes is your agent? And I said, yes. I want to say one thing about Stern, brother. He wore sunglasses and the wig and looked down all the time. He had 23 writers in another room, and everything was scripted. Everything was scripted. Nothing was off the cuff. And so 23 writers. I was on my own, and we beat him in 330 markets. Not every market, but where I wasn't on, I couldn't beat him, obviously. But he was definitely propped up, and the government helped him because of his communism. They want men weak, and they want betas. They want beta males. Look at the boobies, and then he would give you his politics, and it was always to the left. Roger Ailes was a great guy. You're a great guy. We're men. We're alpha men. We make decisions. We sit with our legs open. We mansplain. You can't have that now. So that was the problem. The world couldn't handle Roger Ailes.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, I made the same point about Bill Maher, whose show I did numerous times. I actually did his original pilot for Politically Incorrect. I did it as a favor for a friend. But when you get to your dressing room, his producer comes in and says, please do me one favor. Yeah, what is it? don't try to be funnier than Mancow. Pardon, don't try to be funnier than Bill Maher. And I said,
Right.
well, wait a minute. He's got a platoon of comedy writers. I live by my wits, my uncles, Leibowitz and Markowitz. No,
Hey,
I'm all by myself out here. Ba-boom. Bill Maher is not even faintly amusing without a platoon of comedy writers. I find him, most unentertaining. I'm particularly unhappy about the fact that he impugned my integrity, called me a Russian spy. Then he admitted there was no Russian collusion, but of course he would never have me back to clear my name. Not a good guy. In any event, I want to thank my guest, radio legend Mancow, from whom I have learned enormously, virtually everything I know about the medium of radio and how to keep all you folks interested. I hope you have enjoyed our interview today, and I want to issue a very special thanks to Mancow, who's been more than just a friend. As I've embarked in this radio career, he's really been more like a mentor, teaching me the ropes so I can come here and entertain you 5 nights a week and for 2 hours on Sunday. Mancow, God bless you and thank you. And to my friends out there listening in the Stone Zone, God bless you. God bless you and a Godspeed.
The Stone Zone on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly here for Colonial Metals Group. China's leading the largest anti-American alliance since World War II, one that's already dumped U.S. bonds, grabbed 43 million acres of our farmland, and is plotting to dethrone the dollar. That's why IRA and 401k savers are protecting their savings with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Kelly or call 800-655-5186 for your free gold guide on how to protect your wealth with gold 100% tax-free.